Alright, wanted to show you guys another Linux distribution. A couple of years ago, I shared a video on Lubuntu, which I installed to save an old laptop that could no longer cope with Windows 10. The computer was getting so hot and shutting off after about 20 minutes of trying to run Windows. This is that same laptop actually, so it's still doing fine. I've now put Linux Mint on it, which is a slightly heavier distribution than Lubuntu, but a bit more user-friendly and a bit more nicer looking. Although the latest Ubuntu looks pretty good actually. But Mint is now one of the most famous Linux distributions because of its reliability. It is still way faster than Windows. You can see this laptop is 16 gigabytes of RAM. Sorry, no, 8 gigabytes of RAM now, an i3 processor. So it's really getting on, and yet you can see everything works. It's pretty snappy, pretty quick. Linux Mint comes with a bunch of pre-installed accessories, so the usual kind of stuff like LibreOffice. If you want Microsoft Office, you can run that through the browser, and that's the thing, right? Is the operating system is less important these days in the sense that you can run so many things through a browser, which makes having Windows even less vital. Other apps now, support is better for them. So like you can see, I've got Steam running here. Yes, game compatibility is still an issue. Not as many games run in Steam, but that is improving as people go back and improve on that. Got Spotify running fine here, and there are Linux games themselves you can install directly. I've got kind of variations of classic games that people have like reverse engineered that are pretty good actually. You've even got Super Tux, just an example of the kind of free Linux games. This is like a Mario Brothers. Anyway, don't really have time for that now, but lots of good stuff like that. There are native applications that are pretty good as well, like this Clementine music player. In general, you're going to find that Mint is, I think, really just as usable as any operating system you could find. Like here's the App Store, the software manager. Everything now is nicely categorized. It's easier to find. That's where maybe it is a bit better than Lubuntu. And why go with something like this? So not just the fact that it's free and it's faster than Windows. We know next year a lot of Windows computers aren't going to be able to upgrade to Windows 11. There are workarounds for that. It's a little bit fiddly, but it can be done sometimes. But in general, if you have an old computer and you're thinking of throwing it away, don't yet. I mean, try and install a distribution like Linux. I've got here, there are variations of Linux Mint. I've got this Debian version because Debian has a slightly better reputation these days than Ubuntu, which is used as a base for many Linux variations. And yeah, I really can't say a bad thing about this operating system. It's just extremely user friendly. You can see here like the RAM. What's my total RAM? Does it give me a total? Most of the time it'll run on about 2 gigabytes of RAM. You want like 4 gigabytes of RAM to be comfortable. And as I said, an i3 processor, so it's pretty darn slow, but everything is just working fine. Let's just try streaming some YouTube here.
Ukraine. Russia's been on the front foot in the Donbass. We're highlighting Pokrovsk down here.
And there are ways of running through applications here. Lots of Windows programs. So they have programs like Wine and Bottles, and you can run Windows through them. Proton Tricks, I think is for the game, so there's like a compatibility thing. Some of the issue with Linux distributions is recognizing hardware. So if you've got proprietary drivers that are running your graphics or your processor or whatever they do, for some reason Linux sometimes has sometimes issues with that. That's gone a lot better. So now a distribution like Linux, in fact, did I even do this? You can activate an option to install proprietary drivers, and all those hardware compatibility issues aren't really a problem anymore if you go for Linux instead of Windows. Additional repositories. Yeah, I think there was a way of somewhere in the software manager using extra sources and making sure that your computer hardware is going to run fine. There still sometimes is issue, I think, with graphics cards if you're big on gaming, but again, there's workarounds for that. But on the whole, yeah, this you can see is really, really nice, easy, usable, just very simple, clear, and fast operating system. So, got that old computer that's struggling with Windows? Give Linux Mint a try. There are many other Linux distributions that are worth looking at as well, but I think Mint is the one that's got the greatest reliability and probably the biggest team of developers that are, I think, really integrated in terms of not just being great engineers, but also designers and working with the kind of user experience. And the result is something really, really nice and really, really free. Give it a go.